Hi, welcome back to my channel. Now, I am opening up this review by going straight to Goodreads because this book review is called The Houseshare by Carla Kovach. But I have read 11 of her books that are the Gina Hart series, mystery thriller. But guess what? Every now and again, she writes a psychological thriller, and that's what she did with The Houseshare. So when I got this book, I assumed, erroneously though, I assumed it was a Gina Hart book, but it wasn't. It was totally different. In fact, we have our character, her name is Libby, who's starting over, okay? Her ex, Gary, was a cheater and was an abuser, and she got away. Her sister helped her find a small flat, and it's called the Houseshare because it's a house where, she has a unit. It's somebody downstairs, somebody to her right, somebody whatever. And she's in this flat. She's starting over. It's a small place, but it's pretty. It's completely furnished, and her landlord seems to be ideal. In fact, two of her neighbors, two women who are roommates because they're saving for a world, like a trip around the world or whatever, they befriend her. Meanwhile, Libby has a good job, stressful, but a decent job. But it's not easy. In fact, Gary has no intent on letting go. Then there is the mysterious Mr. Bull. So, let's refresh. Libby rents. She has two, Christy and I can't call the two women neighbors. She has the two female neighbors. She has Tim, the landlord, and then there's Mr. Bull. Tim is great. Her two neighbors are great, but Mr. Bull is a mystery. Not only is Mr. Bull a mystery, but from time to time, Libby hears things, sounds. She hears arguments. She hears banging. And then she has a cat, and her cat's behavior changes. He has a scent. He tracks in things. Things go missing. Now, is she being watched? Then I had to think. Okay, remember I said she had a good job? I think she kind of was like a manager of a temp agency. That's pretty much what I ascertained. So there's a character there. There's her landlord. There's her ex. There's Mr. Bull. So all while she is not being left alone by Gary, hearing those strange noises in the building, her cat acting weird, and the feeling of being watched, I start to go through the four male characters. One of them has got to be the bad guy, but who? Then the book talks about a man named Ricardo. In fact, most of the book is from Libby's point of view. But then you have chapters of the book that are titled Ricardo. So you have chapters of the book that are titled Libby, and you have chapters of the book that are titled Ricardo. So who's Ricardo? Who is Ricardo? What does he have to do, if anything, with all the strange things that are going on for Libby? Now, I don't want to say too much. All I can say is this. You're going to find yourself in this book while reading this book, and you are going to see that every person in that list of people that could be suspects have every reason to be suspects, but the question is how and why. More than that, I don't know. I guess I'm just going to say it. More than that, this book touches on two serious issues. First of all, she came from an abusive relationship. Secondly, she engages in self-harm. So because of that, you know that she is overwhelmed and overwrought. But she's not a wilting flower. And I like her way of working through things, and you'll have to read this book to see about that, but I have to give you those trigger warnings. That's why I paused. That's why I paused. It's debatable whether or not you want to give trigger warnings in a book because you don't want to give any spoilers. And I have done, I think, 1,500 reviews since 2018, and I've never given a spoiler. And I don't want it to start with the Houseshare. Do I want you to read this book? Most definitely. Can I recommend Carla Kovach to you? Most definitely. Want to know how many Carla Kovach books I've read? I think I've read 13 or 14 in the last 2 years. Yeah, really, really good. Now, when we see Libby, like I said, she's no wilting flower. And what she endures is not easy. But the way this book is written, it's gripping, it's suspenseful, it's fast-paced, it has twists and turns, and it has red herrings. So, that's the Houseshare. Now, I'm looking down at my iPad, and I realize that it says the Houseshare is a rework of To Let, which was previously published by Bookouture. So, I don't know when To Let came out and how much of this book was rewritten. So if you didn't read that one, or even if you did, go ahead and get this one. Okay? You can get it at your Kindle store. It's like $3.99, or you can get it as an audiobook, or even possibly your library. But let me tell you, I love Carla Kovach, and this book is addictive, it's compelling, and last thing I'm going to say, and I know I drone on and on, that's just a habit of mine, so you have to forgive me. This book was angst-filled. It kept me filled with angst. I just had to know what was going to happen. And then once I figured out what was going to happen there, then I needed to know what was going to happen next. And that's what this book did. And that's why it's called a gripping and addictive psychological thriller. So that is the Houseshare. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll be back with more. Bye-bye.